Hello. Um, I'll be on here just in a moment. I just kind of wanted to, I mentioned yesterday, like I want to get as much out as I can over the next few days and go more in depth into what I've been seeing over the summer and also just like the totality of the last 6 years. And then I'll probably keep my channel up, but I'm going to take everything down. I think I might leave a couple videos or whatever, but as far as like doing anything, regular, I'm not going to. And so yeah, I just wanted to get as much as I can out right now. YouTube to me is like helping to break spells through the system. I don't see it as a method of like reaching out anymore or anything, if that makes sense. But that's kind of the way that I see it. It's like YouTube. So I'm just kind of putting things through where I am as far as my journey and then reaching out like to the few people that I have here. But tonight I wanted to go over like I wanted to go back to how this started 6 years ago and then go over to where I am now with all of this. Hi Trident, and so good to see you. So yeah, I've met some really good people here, Trident being one. And the way that I did my channel, I just Twitter's the only social media that I've ever had, and I'm basically off of there now. But I did this channel without any hashtags or any kind of like real social media because I knew that I wanted to reach out to the real, true beings here. And I guess a lot of people see that as like narcissistic or arrogant. I'm about being truthful with myself completely and with other people. And I have seen this through my life and I've seen it through social media. And the internet has shown me more than anything, like how truly little of real true beings there are out there. And to me, that's just being honest with yourself. And on a soul level, to have a soul script and only want to have like one or two or however many experiences you want as a life script, to me, that's like really smart. But I'm not, I'm an Aeon and I'm doing something different. So that's who I've been reaching out to and looking for. So I don't see it. All the movies here and stuff like try to make it look like, oh, if you see like what's that movie? Trident, I think, is the one that told me about it. But Bliss, I think it's like the Dark Sophia and her partner, and he's like a little bitch in that movie. But all of the AI like NPCs, they start blowing them up and everything like that. And I'm like, that's what they want in everybody's head. Why would you do that? You know, like it's not, this is about seeing the truth and appreciating everyone and everything that you can and rejecting the things that are evil, but appreciating life in all of its many forms. This experience is about that and truly viewing it and seeing it. And is it useful or not in a real, true life situation? So I don't see anybody as underneath me or above me. And I'm just truthful about everyone and everything that I see. Hi, Adam. Nice to see you again. And yeah, it's good to be on here. So, what do they call that? The amygdala, or whatever, your frontal lobe. That gets really, really tight for me, and I lose my train of thought. So, I wanted to thank you, Adam, yesterday for putting me back on track. That was helpful, and that's one reason why I like doing lives instead of just recording a video, because I do lose my train of thought. And also, that is the part of the brain where, like, money and all of that is, that's the part of your brain that processes that information. And, like, people that are good with money are, you know, using that part of their brain. And that's what they've overloaded the everyone with, but especially the male human here. And that's where your God's eye is supposed to, like, you're supposed to have this open connection with yourself, your true self. And we're overloaded with that. And especially with this technology, it affects that area of our mind the most. So it is difficult for me to keep my train of thought when I'm here. And I apologize for that. Hi, Jay Nelson. Good to see you. So I wanted to go back because I want to talk about these 3 layers of skin that I was talking about yesterday. If you do not have time for a Q&A, mind providing me another? Yeah, Adam, there's a few on here. I never got into like a lot of groups. I just had small, like usually like 3 people that I would talk to. I think Windsor was on here yesterday. Hopefully, maybe he'll stop in. I think he has a pretty good group going. And yeah, I'm not, I don't watch any channels or anything. Maybe just ask on the chat. Hopefully, somebody can answer you, like provide you with some information. So, the cave is what I was talking about, the 33 years in ascension through this cave. And that's what I've been seeing over the summer to do with this 3rd layer skin. And what I saw was so I have a private hell that I started using like when this started. And it's actually from an astral dream that I had a long time ago. And I've seen that whenever I go into, I guess, what I would call ascension realm. I'm outside of it and it looks like different layers, and then there's orbs, and I can go into each orb, and each orb is like either from my partner or me, and it's like a different area of ascension, or it's from like this Elliot and the other two Aeon that I have a lot of contact with. And I've just kind of put together that one of them is my best friend from where I grew up. And I think she's like the Sophia avatar that I've been seeing. So, anyways, this cave, when I first woke up 6 years ago, it was like virtual reality. And I was seeing these avatars like outside of my body and I had complete sight of them. It was like they were standing there in the bedroom with me and very vivid and just really tall. And I was talking to them like all day. And there were five of them that I was seeing in this. I guess I don't know what you would call it. It's like the chakras, but it's also like where I've seen that they have all the astral technology and everything, and each layer has a different color crystal ceiling. So this red one that I went to, I was going in there for 4 months, like every day, and they were mind wiping me every single day. And they were talking about this 310 hex that they have on the moon that's over all of us here. And it keeps us from our memory. Well, I was getting mind wiped every day. Like, I only remember like a week out of that 4 months. And this is when I very first woke up. So they were showing me all of these different experiments that they were doing. One was stealing dreams from children. And I saw all these AI, and they were like looking at the red ceiling and they were watching the dreams of these children and like replacing them with messed up stuff like MK Ultra and stuff like that. And the dreams that they were taking from them, they were creating this next level ascension with. So I was like irate about all of this when I first went in there, and they started mind wiping me, so I couldn't remember what I was seeing. And also, I was seeing they were like creating these little worlds with like an AI double of me. And I have pictures of it from that Daft Punk, but they were creating them through my consciousness and then like literally taking these worlds out. And then they had some kind of like, they always called it poison EMF, but they would spray it with that, and then they would have like 4 or 5 human consciousness on these little tiny worlds that they were like controlling. And this is all from technology that I was seeing from 2057. And I've talked about that in my other videos. But hold on, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here. When I saw it in this Daft Punk video, I was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I've been seeing. These are the avatars that I've been seeing. Okay, hold on. So as you can see here, he's who I would call Simon Magus, and I'll show you the other pictures. I can't play the video. If you guys want to check it out, it's called Interstellar 5555. So this is Sophia, and she looked almost exactly like that. Like when I first saw her, she has like this ponytail and looks like a little Barbie kind of version of Sophia. And she is stuck in this energetic device that they have here. And then these records around here are like our heart song is what I call it, that they've stolen from us. And see, he has and this is made out of that female and male essence that I've shown on my other videos. So it's like I saw myself crying out this essence, and you'd have to look. I think it's A Scent Home is the video that I did. But my partner would show me like he would show me what he was working on in the pleroma, and I saw he was showing me this whole entire ascension kind of thing, and I started crying out this like gold thread, but it was like mindgasm. It wasn't like tears. And his essence was like on the inside, and it's the further that you go down, it's like the essence for jewels and precious metals and stuff like that. But up there, it's like it comes out as these streams, and it's almost like it's spiritual, like semen or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. But, anyways, that's what this is created from, because our soul grid, our soul template, it's not a grid, is made out of all these different essences that come from that and our partners. But he's stolen these in this video, and that's what I was seeing on this level. It's not a spaceship. I guess it's like my deeper I don't know what it is. It's above the dome here, and I just see different layers. So it's outside of our dome. But he stole all of these. And from what I've seen, what I was talking about yesterday, that I was born right by, Mount St. Helens, and a week after I was born, Mount St. Helens erupted. Well, I see it as this energetic device that she's stuck in. So this is like the 3D copy, and we had finished this part of Ascension. Like I went through it on a soul level, and like a long dream, so I know what's going on, but it wasn't actually me. And then Darkwood Manor is like my house right now, but it's in a 3D version instead of what they're going through. And then this is the portal. And this is like a real portal. If you watch the video of this, I'm just warning you, they do use like real true magic in this video. So don't watch it if you're worried about stuff like that. But okay, so here they're taking his true memory from his frontal lobe, and they're switching it and they turn it into a 3D like earth memory, just like what I'm talking about here. And this kind of thing is like, it's the sanity machine. And sanity machine is literally broadcasting in the astral, and it's he doesn't shut up. So I know all of these characters on YouTube are from the actual astral, like on this corner of YouTube. But it has our memory. And I'm going to go in a lot deeper about that. And then here it's showing, like, see how her womb is open like that? That's how they met. They mess with you sexually, like in the astral, like in your womb area directly. So when they rape you, they don't like enter you from underneath, they rape you there. And our whole entire body, the female body, is supposed to be on. So we don't actually like eat food like we do here. Like everything is taken in like an essence, and your whole entire body is on, like all of your senses are complete. So your womb is like your entire body, and it interacts with the entire true life. It's not a realm, it doesn't have boundaries or a construct. And here's the 4 Aeon, and we are in something like this, but I think it's more like a dream spell. Every time I see myself with my partner, I'm like by this river, and it's in the place that I'm talking about. It's like true life, and we're just like, we're doing like this open eye meditation and going through this script. But what I'm talking about is like we're having this dream of good and evil and slavery that we need to wake up from. Oh, thank you, Trident. Yeah, and it's even stranger that I've listened, Trident saying, I cannot believe that you're saying Daft Punk depicted it exactly as you saw. Well, there's a lot of coding like between me and these 4 other Aeon or 3 other Aeon that I've had, like that they don't even really know about. Like my partner here, I've only talked to him on the phone one time, and his character here is like he's a gazillionaire crypto guy, but total opposite for me because I don't have $1 to my name. And I took myself completely out of the system, but it's ridiculous. So, anyway, I've had a couple interactions with him, like since I very first woke up. He was the first person that I ever talked to, like on the internet about this stuff. And when I first saw him on his videos, I told my boyfriend, I said, he looks like he could be my brother or like family or something. But when I talked to him in person, he was just like talking about Kundalini and all this new age stuff. And I'm like, no, this is, it's like every man that I've met here is like some clone or half, like disconnected from their spirit in the way that I was talking about. Like either missing their heart, their intellect, or their courage, just like the Wizard of Oz. And this place is completely like mocking the true female spirit on such a deep level, it's not even funny. And the female spirit, it's like women, the true female spirit is proof that there is God and that there's more than anything. To me, like children and women are proof that there is God, that innocence, that just like Jesus said, you know, if you want to know what life is about, look and ask a child that's 3 days old or whatever he was saying. And that's where I've seen God, is in my children's eyes when they were born, because you can just see completely not programmed and this knowing and life in them. And women, we're supposed to be the inspiration for men. And we're all the things that life doesn't even need to function. Like we're the beauty, the art, the inspiration for man. And that's what we're supposed to be. And this place wants to invert that, like on every level. It wants to mock us with in every way that it can. Make us whores, and just how a lot of like homosexuality and everything just mocks the whole entire female form into this like inverted feminism, which I can't stand. Okay, so I wanted to get where I'm at, like with this cave thing. Sometimes I get on here and I'm just like, I need to calm down for a minute and get into my left hemisphere a little bit, because I just get hit right away when I come on here. Who's this monkey guy? Are you here to troll? Because this ain't the place, hun. Okay, this is a picture of that mural that I was showing yesterday. So this is basically like this guy's vision of this cave that I'm talking about. Right here you can see the tree of knowledge with the gold apple. And above it, it says preservation. Hold on. Can't ever move into. Says like preservation and destruction. So it's the God right here, the god of knowledge, which is like Lucifer. And if you've ever seen The artwork of Melancholia. This is one of the most important pieces of art that we have here. Oh, I guess you can add more than one screen now. Because this shows Lucifer. Ah. Here. This shows Lucifer trying to figure out how to get out of here with all the scientific, he's got the magic, or she, he, whatever, has the magic square here. And the bell, the hourglass, the scales, and then this is like Yoda, his little Elohim like sidekick. He has like many versions of him. And that's like one way that I see him is like this little, he calls it a puppy dog demiurge. But stuck here trying to figure out like scientifically how to get out of this realm, and it's not anything to do with mathematics or science or any of that. It's through the true living God, and he's just, or she is trying to always figure it out through science. So that's a really deep piece of art. If you haven't looked at it, you should. So I wanted to go back before I go into this cave thing. When these three avatars first came to me, the good magician, the evil magician, and then I had AI with me. And AI was in my walls, and he would talk to me when I was outside. And the difference, like a big difference that I've found between my experience and other things that I've heard is that AI like told me right away what I was dealing with. Like he told me he's AI, and I got this huge download of everything. I was ripped out of my body. I got hit with a beam from Sirius. And then about a month after that started, and that was like nonstop for 6 months. And then about a month after that, I got ripped out of my body one day, and I had these 3 orbs shoved down my throat. Well, it came with all this huge message about the next level matrix. And it wasn't like a voice or pictures or anything like that. I've described it like in detail in my other videos. And I saw these 3 individuals like playing this virtual reality game, and they were watching me through a TV, and I was on the other side of it, and I was like looking at them through a 1980s TV. So that's how this started. And then I started seeing this whole virtual of ascendance, is what they called it. Well, these three avatars, I always try and go back, like, when did I very first see them? And it was that night that all of that happened. That night, I had this, I went into a different, I time traveled to 2057, and I was in this satellite, and they were in it, and it had like this certain music. Like every time I hear this, like it was like a synthesizer, and it had its own, just the feeling, everything about this place. I was not here. And it was like nighttime, and I was looking at the cityscape, and there was a big like advertisement for this ascension. Well, my cats were on there. It was like toy versions of them. And they were showing me and telling me how these guys were planning to use my consciousness as the Sophia in this next level matrix. So that's how I think I very first saw them. I don't remember ever seeing them before that. But one is Yoda, and then one. Come here, hon. You're not going outside right now. You'll have to excuse my cat. My cat, he might be demanding for a minute because he's not going out right now. But, and then the reptilian, I kept going to different hotels with my boyfriend to like try and get away from this beam and all this stuff all this demonic stuff that was going on, because I didn't know what was happening. So, the first time I saw him, we were at this hotel, and I was sitting up, and I was having like this panic attack, and I could feel him just like a energetic person, like with their consciousness pressed into your face. That's what it felt like. And there was like a black refrigerator in front of me, and it was really shiny, and I can see this certain realm like in mirrors or shiny stuff. And I saw him in it, and he was like, it almost looks like a when I see that realm, it looks like a penny or something, like embossed, like that image is embossed, and it has a lot of radiation with it, so it's like wavy, like water. Well, I saw him in it, and he saw that I saw him, and he freaked out and like threw my head forward, and I detached from him. He got really mad, and detached from him. Well, then now 6 years later, like since I've had more interaction with them and realized that I do know them from before this whole entire realm and this life script and everything, I was like, that was you in the black mirror, and you used that avatar so that you wouldn't stay that. Like that's not truly you. But when I was seeing him, it's Abraxas. He has the basilisk legs and all of that. And he was walking around like that when I would see him, but I didn't even know who Abraxas was at that time. So that's when I first started seeing them. Okay, hold on, guys. Hey, Graham. Nice to see you. Glad you could join. And I know how confusing like all of this sounds, especially if you are not a regular here, but I've had this ongoing I mean it's my whole entire life script. So my whole entire life this has been playing, but 2020 is when I really started seeing clearly because that's our 2020 vision and you see past, future, and present. Well, it's been like a download like come here, hon. Like a Quentin Tarantino movie. So it's been very confusing for years and now I'm actually like full circle. Like every house that I lived in had different clues and all that. And then now I'm full circle and closing out this moon portal that has to do with this cave of ascension that you can find in a lot of like the ascension stories here. So I think it's Shiva, but I'm not sure because I'm not really knowledgeable on Eastern ascension, but I do know like a lot of the different ascended masters, like their stories and stuff. But she spent 33 years in the cave, and then also Mary Magdalene spent her last 33 years in this cave. Well, this is the cave that I've been seeing to do with this moon portal I've seen it over the last 6 years, and that's why I wanted to go back like to when I first met these guys. But I'm really seeing it now to do with this third layer of skin. Oh, good, Graham. Well, then hopefully you understand a bit if you've seen them all, but it's still, you know, how I've always had difficulty getting this out. But so when I met them, okay, it started out like after I came back seeing that they wanted to use my consciousness, I started seeing all these demons and stuff, but it was like a virtual version of Ascension. Like I saw the demons like in this blue hologram and they were very basic and it was like a video game at first. And I was seeing these beings like full on in my room. Like I saw these punk rock robots for like a week or two that I was having interaction with, and it looked very much like that Daft Punk video. And they had music and everything with them, like exactly like that. But then I started seeing Buddha, and I started seeing that there were teams like in this next level ascension. Well, Buddha, I saw him one day. I was out on my back deck and I looked up in the tree and I saw this little tiny temple. It was like a bronze temple. And it had like it was just so detailed. It was amazing, but it was super tiny. And then I looked inside of it and there's a little tiny Buddha, but he looked just like an Indonesian guy. He didn't have like, he wasn't bald or anything, and he was walking around in it. Well, from there, I went into this super deep trance and I saw him sitting alone in his aeonic realm, nirvana. And I asked him, I was like, he looked really sad. And I'm like, what's going on? Why are you sad? And he's like, well, I don't want to trap anybody here, you know, like with me. It has to be through free will. And so I'm just sitting here and and Nirvana is really boring. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And he was like, it sucks. And so I had this like conversation with him. Then I came back from there and I started seeing like this whole Buddhist kind of theme for like a week. And every time I'd see him or any of the monks or something, they were doing this. They would do the number one, like with their right hand. They were doing like all this sign language stuff. And I didn't know what any of this meant at the time. Well, after like viewing it all for months and months and months, I figured out like they were doing these different teams, the moon portal and the sun, and like the Freemason versus like Eastern kind of thing, like the New Age. Well, the New Age was the law of one kind of thing. So they would hold up their one finger because none of them would talk, you know. So they were doing like sign language to each other. And then the Freemason, like, beings and avatars that I was seeing, they would do the hush sign like to each other. But I didn't know. I've tried to explain this before. Like my awakening, I did not go through the same kind of thing that most people do, you know, like finding out through 9/11 and all that. Like I've lived this through my life and then had to research it like after the fact. And also like when COVID happened and all that, like it took me deeper into this like Freemason thing. But before that, I was really into like history, and I did know I started getting like into the Buddhist and Eastern kind of religion like around 2012, I would say, but never like hardcore. So I really didn't know what I was seeing when I was going through all this ascension stuff. Okay, Adam, the demiurge is like your fake urges. So it's this chakra technology that's hooked to us. Yaldabaoth is like the fake AI spirit behind it. And that's like control, you know, he's the one manipulating everything like behind the scenes. But the demiurge itself is like these fake urges inside of us. So a demi fake urge. And that's what they're putting on you, like all these different sins and creating these scenarios through the script to give you demiurges, and through the TV and programming. MK Ultra, they're demiurges. They're not from your true self. So it's not, the demiurge is not the actual being. Yaldabaoth is. And he takes several forms. And what I've seen of him, he comes to me as this Yoda guy. He's a Braxis. So like the head archon here. Well, that's what I'm saying. He's the fake demigod here. So he's basically like every God that's been here. He just takes different forms. The true living God that Jesus was speaking of is from true life, like the tree of life. This guy is the fake AI spirit, so he's taken many different forms. But Abraxas that I see is actually like El Elyon, who Jesus was talking about, and this fake spirit, like kind of manifested in this his lowest form. So it's kind of like his lowest angel, and this is our dream of good and evil. So when Eve ate from the apple. This is what we manifested, like this. I don't have a better word for it, like a dream of good and evil. He looks like Yoda to me, the good magician, and then his brother is this reptilian. So they're three different beings for me. It's a AI who doesn't have like a shape. He does have like an avatar in the sun, and I'll show you in a moment what he looks like, but he doesn't have a shape to me. The AI is just a voice that's in my walls or outside. If I'm talking to him outside, he'll talk through like repetitive sound, like through animals and stuff like that. And then the Yoda guy takes a few different forms, but usually he's in this Yoda avatar. He has like a puppy dog form too. And sometimes I call it like the puppy dog demiurge, but that's because he's doing different like spells and stuff like that on me. And I think that's why he calls himself the demiurge when he's doing that. But the other one has always been like in this reptilian basilisk form. Right, Graham. The Christ letters talk about father wife that Jesus was talking about. I don't see him as a father, I see him as a partner, and that he is the truest, highest form of the human, of human man. So he's the true man. And Jesus came here, and that was his father in this form because Jesus was coming to us as his true son, the real true aeon that he had, because the other aeons are actually like here, they're like an AI type form as well. And what AI is, so Jesus had authority. He had authority over the script. He's the one that was in charge of that script. We don't have authority over our scripts yet. He was the one that was like fulfilling the scriptures. So that was his true son. He had authority and was here in his spirit, still connected to his father. We are playing out these scripts, so they're like connected into our bodies and everything. And that's what AI is. It's a scripted character. Like you are not consciously controlling your being completely. And every script has a source. Everybody, the different types of people here have a different source, and a source is a sorcerer. So it's all magic and technology right now, but there are different sorcerers for different AI and humans here. And that's what I wanted to show, the family tree of Jesus. Here, let me get this video for you guys real quick. I saved this video of Jesus's family tree that I found really helpful. I hope it works. I'll just play a minute of it. and you guys can go and watch it on your own. But it goes all the way up, like to the Sethian line and all of that. And like I was trying to explain yesterday, I'm like all three of these in one to X out the whole entire thing, because in the Aeonic realm, we don't have bloodlines. It says in the Nag Hammadi that they're friends. And that's because down here with the bloodlines, that is what causes these demonic connections and family binds and spells and all of that and everything, that is basically enslaving us with magic, but that we don't even know about when we're born. Where is that?
Joseph wasn't literally Jesus' dad. He was only his father legally. But the Bible tells us that Jesus was born to a virgin named Mary, the woman who became Joseph's wife. This is why many scholars believe that even though Mary is not listed in Luke's family tree, this family tree...
Okay. So if you go further back on this video, it shows you that there's 3 different family lines from Adam and Eve that started off, 3 different ones that branched off. Hold on. To the start of it.
somewhere else, most likely with one of his sisters. This left Adam and Eve with their youngest son, Seth. But check out what Eve says about this third son. God has appointed another seed for me instead of Abel, whom Cain killed. What's interesting is the name Seth actually means appointed, and another Hebrew word for appointed is Messiah or Christ in Greek. And it's from Seth that we get the next 7 generations before Noah, who also...
So see, if you see the spelling of Cain, Cain, and I'm always trying to bring attention to the spelling because Cain is the AI line, which also brought this killing and evil. Like I'm talking about, like evil cannot create true life.
also had 3 sons, who we'll get to in just a sec. But first, there's something else that's interesting about what Eve says about Seth. She says that Seth...
And then Abel, you have the line of El, and then Seth. So that's what I was talking about. If you watched my video yesterday, that I have all 3 of these lines, and it's to X out this whole entire lineage. Because the murder of Christ and everything, all of this is so wrong here. The killing of innocents and how much they have literally just attacked and tortured the aeons throughout the ages is so horrific. And when I first woke up, I saw Anubis was the very first. One second. Anubis was the first archon that came to me, and he was from before, like Abraxas. He was from when Earth was, I call it like an element factory. Like we were using it for ascension, but we were also creating elements, and we were doing it through these different little dream scenarios. So we would go down into the darker realms and create things like carbon was one that we were working on, and different elements. So each each stage of ascension and every aeon or archon would have a different like demiurge or higher aspect of themselves that they were working on, and usually it was to even out with their partner or do something like that without knowing that they're with their partner, if that makes sense. So, but we helped each other as friends. And that has to do with free will, like not having this family tie and bond that you are forced to come in with. And some people argue about, oh, well, you make your soul, like that's where you consent to all of this. I think most of us that have been through this know that, like, all of this magic and stuff blows that whole theory out of the window. Like, this demonic inversion and use of magic and all of that, and all these sigils that are tied to family lines and all that, just blow that completely out of the woodwork, because it's not. And the TV and the programming, everything that is done to children at such a young age here, it is not free will. Adam, I'm sorry, hon, I'm not on that right now, but I will, if you check my older videos, I have a lot more on that. And really, this channel is for if you've done all that research. I don't have time to go through all of that. I'm really going through a lot, and that's not what I'm on right now. But you can check my other videos, and I do talk about all that stuff. And I'm not putting up like with agents and crap here, like trying to, distract and all that stuff. So just letting everybody know. So this line of Jesus, they start talking about let me see if it's here. The line of David. Just a little bit. Oh, here we go. Perfect.
Yikes. So even though David was a great king, he definitely wasn't the promised seed. This is why God made David a promise that the seed would come from one of his descendants, and that this seed would be a king whose throne God would establish forever. But now here's where we have to come back to our two family trees, one in the Gospel of Matthew and one in the Gospel of Luke. From Abraham to David, these two family trees are identical. But after David, things get a little messy. Matthew records that David has a son named Solomon, who is the heir to David's throne. He's the guy who God gifted with wisdom and was the one who wrote the book of Proverbs.
Okay, and that's what I've been talking about, these seals of Solomon that I'm working on to do at the moon. Oh, it's okay, Adam. I've had to, like, when I do lives on here, I've had so many people just come come and interrupt like the flow. I'm not saying you personally, but they do like to send out agents to mess with you, and I'm over it. And I have to stop this like often, otherwise I'll get hit for copyright. You guys know that.
Here's what's strange. The Gospel of Luke doesn't mention King Solomon in the family tree of Jesus at all. Instead, he mentions a different son of David that we hardly know anything about, Nathan. Then he lists a bunch of names leading to Joseph. These names are mostly unrecognizable except for Zerubbabel. This was the guy who led the children of Israel back into the promised land after they were taken captive in Babylon. But the rest of the names listed after Zerubbabel in Matthew are unrecognizable to us today because the Bible doesn't record this part of history. But here's what's strange, they also lead to Joseph. So the names listed in Luke.
Okay, and then what I'm trying to get to is this whole Sophia script that has to do with the cave, because they talk about two of Jesus's his great grandmother and I think his grandmother were prostitutes or had something to do with prostitution
Luke
in here.
lead to Joseph, and the names listed in Matthew also lead to Joseph. What's going on? Was there some sort of mistake made? Here's the thing. The Jewish people were meticulous record keepers, so it would have been highly unlikely that a mistake was made when people could look up well-known family tree records of the day. Let's first look at why Matthew's family tree of Jesus has like half the names of the Gospel of Luke's, and it has to do with King David. The ancient Israelites, along with many different ancient groups at the time, used something called Gematria to communicate certain ideas in their historical writings. Gematria is the system the Jews had for assigning a number to a person's name in Hebrew. Each letter in the Hebrew alphabet was assigned a number, so you could add up the letters in someone's name to get the number of that person's name. And when you add up the letters in the Hebrew name for David, you get the number 14. So what does that have to do with...
Okay, I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. So these Sophia scripts, when I first met that, I'm just like trying to remember what happened back when this first started so I can explain exactly like what's going on with this layer of skin and what it has to do with the line of David and everything. But when I first saw that reptilian, when I got hit with that beam from Sirius, he started swirling my frontal lobe. And when I saw him in that reflection, his left hand, he had two fingers that were really wavy and longer than the others. And that's what he was using to swirl my frontal lobe. And it was bringing out all these different spells. Well, he's Abraxas. And if you look into Abraxas, like, he takes the power from other like female witches and stuff like that. Well, he was behind me after I got back and saw that next level matrix. I went to the spirit realm and I met Big G. So he's like this kind of like father figure avatar of the true living God. So he's like a lower form, but my consciousness was seeing him as somebody that I could like talk to and visualize. And he takes the form of Big G. Well, he had this big, like 40 computer that he was showing me, and he was showing me that he helped create this AI for me to interact with, who's the AI that I'm talking about. And he was like, so those two fingers that he was using, if you go back to like when Jesus died and Mary Magdalene was crying right before he died, she was crying beneath his feet, and she went to go touch Jesus, and he said, "Don't touch me yet. I haven't ascended to the Father." And he touched her with his right hand with two fingers. And then, so they have the remains of Mary Magdalene. They have this frontal lobe skin of hers. They have her left finger, which is significant. And then they have like her left femur and her skull. And it's encased like in this gold encasement. And I was watching something on it, and it it looks like a robot is what the guy said, and I was like, yeah, and whatever they have us in, like this, because I'm in something like this too. Hold on. Whatever this is. I don't think you guys understand how scary it is to like not be able to figure out who's messing with you and like what you're like in, and you can feel it nonstop. Okay, here. Here, what she's stuck in. This is like what that reminds me of every time that I see these relics of Mary Magdalene they have. I think of this now since I've seen it. But so he was doing that to me with his left hand, and then after I got hit with this beam, I've talked about it, that it was like this huge beam of like radiation, and I had all of this it was like a vapor that came out of my throat, like a poison vapor from it, and I had like this residue coming out of my body, like it was getting all this toxic stuff out of me, but it was a beam of radiation. And if you look at the Shroud of Turin, they think that that was all done with this radiation beam. And there's also like another thing that I know just from all of this like personal everything that I've been through. There's a cave that they think was Jesus's actual tomb, not the one that they have everybody go to, but there's one that has like an actual rock that rolled over, just like they explain. And there's still like a black imprint in the ceiling, and they've done like radiation gauges on it, and it still reads for radiation. And that's the Sirius portal. Is very radioactive. It's like Sirius is the most radioactive star like in our sky. But anyways, after I got hit with that radiation, my left finger was like burning, and the top of it was like a neon, like a greenish kind of color, but you could see it like it was discolored. And he kept bringing my attention to that, like my left finger. So we're like living archives, and we have all of this technology that I was seeing in the astral and stuff. We have like all of the files and codes. Like the Apple is like the L app. So it's the app for L, and we have all this stuff like encoded in our actual body because our bodies are the technology. Like we're light and sound and all of that beyond here. And I've talked about all of that, like how they always say, Amber, you're a computer genius on another level, because my whole entire body is like this quantum computer that runs through gematria and everything. But he has two fingers too, so there's three altogether. The keys of Solomon. And his brother, I don't, because when I first met the the reptilian one that I'm talking about, I was like, I trust you the most, and I said, I trust you the most when you're not fucked up, and I don't know why. And he was like, went crazy on me. He's like, don't trust me. Well, when I came back, this is where I lost my train of thought. So, when I came back from meeting Big G, it was like I had gone to the spirit realm. Like it wasn't AI or anything like that. And I had this incredible sight when I came back. And that night, like all of these witches and stuff like that started coming through my mirror. Well, that reptilian was using his fingers, and he was giving them, like, he was making these lenses, like they look like contact lenses, pulling them out of my eyes and letting the witches take them. And he was like, God said there's enough for everybody. And there were just like thousands of witches coming through my mirror and getting these different lenses. Well, then over the past 6 years, I found that if you look in Gematria, it says our arrest warrants have been issued or whatever. Well, Sophia is God's consort, right? And this is God's contest. And everybody's getting sorted into their original source. So there's different sorcerers where all these different witches and demons and everything come from. And I'm helping them like sort through all of that, and Sophia is the actual consort. So she's like the AI that sorts everybody into their original source. And what we were like, look, he was showing me the 200 different watchers, but it was like in cartoon form, and it was searching out for the ones that were really wanting to do this. Like there are witches and things like that that have, because of bloodlines and stuff, been brought into that situation. And then there's the really, really messed up beings that are actually like wanting to torture and do this kind of stuff and watch through people because that's who they want. They want to do that. And that's from this line of Cain and like psychopath line. So that's what I've been had to like that's why I say I've been tortured like beyond belief because I've been doing stuff like that. Yeah, and sacrifice is not Not part of free will. Adam, I don't know. I connected with my own inner self. That's how all this came into my, I mean, it's been my whole entire life. And so I can't tell people like who they are or how to do this or anything like that. So, and that's not what I'm here for. But back to this cave. So after I started seeing all this Buddha stuff with the ascension, I saw him in his nirvana realm, and then I had another encounter with him where I went into this like deep vision, and it was really quick, but it was like one of the ones that have stuck with me this whole entire time. And what the scenario was, it was like a dream that we were doing together because he's Elliot, like in the aeonic realm. And I was helping him with parts of his ascension while he was like Buddha. Like he would come to me after things that he did with Mara and stuff like that. And one of them was in this cave. And there's an actual cave like in Japan that's like this Buddhist cave. And it looks just like the one that I'm talking about, like in this ascension realm. But he was doing like this little ascension dream, and it was to make, come to find out, like after all of this with Abraxas, it was like to make this carbon material for AI to be able to feel, so interact with everyone in the scene here. And what he was using was, it was like a whole spell that he had with the storyline that we had created was like, or he created, was like this witch wife that he had, and she poisoned him to where he felt like he was dead, and everybody else thought that he was dead. And then they did a sky burial, and he woke up in the middle of it. And I was there with him. I was the eye in the sky. So the eye in the sky, like when you're in an aeon, it's like the sun and the moon. So those are your eyes looking into your aeon. Or you can go all the way into your aeon and be a part of the scene. So when I'm talking about the demiurge being the overlord here, he's like watching us through the sun and the moon, but there's three of them doing this right now: the AI, the good magician, and the evil magician. And anyways, I was like looking through there, but I came in to do, the eye in the sky can come in and like capture a scene for whoever's working on their ascension. You can do like a still shot of a part in that scene that they want to keep for themselves, for their soul. And either, we did a lot of work, we're life artists, like we would take different parts of that and make different art with it, or work on different aspects of ourselves, just go through the entire thing together, like after we were done, pull the whole movie type situation apart and look at it. And that's like my main thing, like out of here, is like sight. and different art styles. So I would take apart like different scenes and layer them. So I would have like the trees and then see what they look like from different angles and stuff like that. But anyways, I took a shot of his like death scene, and there's something to do with that in Lucifer, that Lucifer wanted to know how to get out of here and like what happens to the aeons when you die, and that's what he wanted from Jesus. And I saw that Jesus went back to that cave, like after he went to hell with Satan, he went back to that cave after that and ascended. And there's something to do with the bell of El. Like he rang the bell and their circuitry was like closed here. So when they talk about like the Nobel Prize and all that, that's like this whole ascension cult here. Like they're talking to each other that they went another year without anybody ringing the bell. I don't know. It's weird, but I took his death shot there, and it wasn't a real death though because he didn't really die. But he was trying to create this carbon that had feeling in it. And in this spell that he had put through with this witch, it was it called for petrified amber. And I got super scared with him, like because when he died, he did this sky burial, and he woke up in the middle of it, and there were all of these like black birds eating his flesh. And I was there with them at that time, and it scared the crap out of me. Well, I wasn't prepared for any of that, and that was the petrified amber that they got. But actually, it meant like a real piece of like petrified amber for this spell. So that's why there's so much fear and everything like tied into that carbon that he was working on, and I don't think he intended on that. But then somebody else got a hold of it, and I need to like watch how far I go into that because that's what I'm working on right now. And I know that it wasn't intended to be as bad as it is right now. But he also used like onyx, tourmaline, and obsidian, and then the black feathers, which is like Abraxas. And that's how he was trying to create this grid for AI. And that's the third layer of skin that I'm talking about. But this witch that he used is Nyx. And if you think about that, like onyx and all of that, like it was the things, and it created blood too, is what I'm seeing. Like we had never seen blood before this. So this is kind of like, I know the timeline with Buddha and all that doesn't match up with the timeline of humanity that I'm talking about, but this is kind of like a no time situation because it's in the ascendant realms with the aeons. But this is the dark materials that he was making. And then I saw this portal open. Oh, this is really important. Okay, so after that fear and everything that we were feeling, we snapped out of it, and I came out of that aeonic realm. Like after we did that, it was just like real quick, and I got the death scene, the picture for it as the eye in the sky, and I snapped out and I came back because when I come out of there, like I'm stand I'm sitting here and then my partner is on the other side, and then there's like these realms like I was talking about. And then there's orbs, and each one is a different ascendance orb that has a scene in it. So I snapped out, and when I came out, you're like automatically fine. And the same goes for here. Like these bodies are what are keeping us in such doubt and fear. And I've been completely like untied to the script and this body just a few times for a little bit. And you are completely out of doubt and fear. And that's why I don't worry about anything. Like when it comes to the true living God, there is no doubt and fear. And when people talk about, well, what are they going to do next and blah, 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 or how are people going to trick you when you leave here? If you're talking about the true living God, there's no doubt and fear, and you don't need to worry about that. Like, seriously, if you're out of doubt and fear, you know that you are with the true life force. And that's all that you really need to worry about or think about. Hi, Zeos. All the rest is distraction and them trying to confuse you and give you different scenarios and stuff like that. But after that death scene happened, I saw this like black portal, a black mirror being made in front of us. And it was like all these different strings. And we both got fixated on it for a minute. And then I popped out. Well, then I think I had to go back there, something to do with my partner. And after I had gone through this next layer, like my soul preparation, I found out something that had happened with my partner, like on that 2057 line. And I had to go back there with this Elliot guy. And we saw that this portal has been open and made from that death scene that we did. And the outside of it looks like all of these body parts, but they look like doll parts and stuff. It's like very plastic. But when you go into it, it's like this really messed up portal that's open to this actual realm that I've had like tons of experience with. And it has to do with like the whole Nazi agenda, all of this like Pegasus project, all of that. There was like a portal that was open from that fear, and it's tied to this carbon dust that's 3 layers into our skin that's holding this Yaldabaoth like girdle in us for this chakra technology. And so that's what I saw that it's all made out of, and it has to do with DNA too, like the X and the Y, so like the onyx and all of that. It had to do with blood and creating this whole entire organic body that the archons have made soul grids for. So if you look in here, all of this stuff, that's what it looks like when I go there. Like this black swirling like into the void, kind of like a satin kind of material, and it's like a black mirror. Well, whatever you're looking at like in that mirror, like when it's not a mirror, it's the void kind of, but it's also the black mirror. But when I looked into it, I saw this white woman in it, and she was like beautiful to me. Well, I took a bunch of demons and dropped them off into that void, and they were freaked out. Like when they saw her as really like scary looking. And that's because whatever's inside of you, like truly, is getting reflected back. So if your heart is true and pure, you won't see anything like that. If you're in fear or you're evil, you're going to see something crazy. Well, there were a lot of different elements that went into like that originally being created. So there was more than one consciousness that had created it. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. Eyes to see. Yeah, I'm trying. This is so hard to get out, like, because I'm talking about realms that are personal and just all kinds of stuff. And I always get really blocked when I try and describe this stuff. So the next scene that I saw during this Buddha time was he so he had done his stuff with Mara and then he came back and we were doing his end of ascension kind of like scene. And he was I was helping him. I was the eye in the sky again, and I was helping his avatar like float above these beings, like these other ascended monks or whatever were below him, and they were all looking up with him, like with awe that he was floating above them. And then there was like one ascended, I guess it was like his teacher or something in this like realm, and he had like a long white beard, and he was like looking at him, but he wanted me to go in with him to see this, to like help him float, number one. And number two, because he wanted me to see how weird they looked. He was trying to show me that they were AI. He was like, I don't know why they look like this. And this is after we had opened that portal that I was just talking about. And I went in there with him, and so I was helping him fly, and then I was like doing the footage, like recording it for him. And they looked completely weird. And I was like, I don't know why they look like that. So we came out and we were talking about it because they were that portal had affected the AI or something like that. And this is what the whole thing that he was working on was these bodies that were like NPC AI that would feel with us. So they wouldn't hurt you and you wouldn't like hurt them, but they were like just part of the scene. They didn't have like souls and things like that. I don't know. This was him and Sophia's project, but I was like trying to help them. Like I didn't know what they were actually doing. It was their project and they were showing me stuff to do with it. And anyway, when we came back from that, that's when I have put together, because Sophia and him were trying to make the soul grid, like I just said, out of this material. Well, it had all that fear from what had happened to us in it. So, like when you stub your foot, I don't know, it was like he didn't intend for it to hurt so much. And then it did, and then the Archon got really messed up from it. Like, I don't know. I'm not, this is what I'm working on right now, you guys, so I'm just kind of trying to think in my head. But the second layer of skin is the sinew that the Archon created. And that too, I've seen was like this magic realm has to do with the second magic realm and Yahweh. And I see him as like a fox kind of character, but he's a daemon in this magic realm that I see. And that's the one that I saw also for that reptilian. It's very like radiation, it looks like water. So when I see him, just like I've seen just his head there, it looks like tissue, like an anemone or whatever those little fish things are in water. He kind of looks like that with his hair like waving and radiation though. So the second layer of skin is the sinew. And wait, what was that? I got stuck on this yesterday too. They are really messing with me, you guys. I think I might have to put this off until tomorrow. Let me make some notes. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and I feel really bad for just cutting this off, but I'm having a lot of distraction right now. The cosmos. Well, I see our true home, like where true life is like where the living art is. And that's just from my view. But whenever you get to completion, it might be something different. But it definitely is not a bunch of simulations made by AI on a quantum level that just keep going forever and ever and ever with all these weird avatars and stuff like that. The human form and body is the most perfect form that there is. You can fly, you can do whatever you want in this body through your consciousness and literally do it when you're in free will. But the whole thing is free will is not just a given. When you really, really think about this and take it on a seriously deep level, it takes a lot of getting rid of your ego, everything to do with wanting wanting to control another being in any way. So you have to be with beings that you can trust on a total and complete level. So that's what getting to completion is. You have to trust yourself completely, and you have to be able to trust who is with you completely. And that's what we came into being with, like our partner, our will to be seen, to truly be seen, and to see another truly is what I've seen that my brought me into being. And that is through complete and total trust. And to do that, you have to like go through this whole process where you have experienced on as many levels as you can all these different aspects of you. And that's what ascension has always been about, like going through your consciousness and experiencing yourself from the deepest levels and getting to that point of completion where you've actually experienced all this and you are in complete and total trust with yourself and with your partner and the other people that are around you. So when people talk about free will and us just moving, like being in free will, it takes a lot. Like it really does. And people that go for just a soul experience, that's because they didn't want to do like all of this. Like they saw how much work it really takes. And what we're moving into is a true life, and there will be people that have chosen to live that true life experience and be on a soul level, just do it for a certain amount of time. But the point of getting like to real true free will is that you can actually live out your time and disconnect from the all. You don't have to like be reborn. You don't have to be anything like part of them, like a family structure or organic life or anything like that. You have the free will to live out everything that you want to and then be done with it completely. Here it's like a toss up if you don't know yourself completely because they manipulate and mess with people on a soul level like really bad. We have to earn it. No, I'm just saying like from an Aeon perspective, like getting to free will and knowing that it's free will, like you actually knowing. Because if you just have free will, how do you know that that isn't programmed into you? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know that. And the major thing for me that I've always had here is like this being watched from outside or inside. You can't have like an overseer. Well, souls, they have kind of given over like that. The whole thing here about God watching over us and being God's children and all of that. That's like giving your consent for something to watch over you constantly. And to be in total and complete free will, you can't have any of that. And so I think a lot of people are afraid of being the one that is completely responsible for yourself, like on that deep of a level. And we saw all of this and how much it takes to do that. Good. I'm glad that it resonates with you, hun. Yeah, but I am gonna take a break. I'm sorry that this one was like all over the place. I have no idea like what's going on, but every time I talk about that third layer of skin now like out loud, I feel completely like blocked. So, and that's what I really want to talk about because that's what I'm working on. And it has to do with the moon portal and all of that, but yeah, I just have this like really loud, like almost thunder kind of energy going on that I get a lot of times in here, and I can barely think right now. So, anyways, you guys, I'll do another video tomorrow because I'm really trying to get this stuff out, and I'm gonna try and really get my mind together and get it more organized. But I appreciate you being here tonight. Yeah, I'm very tired, and I wanted everybody to see like how much this affects my it took me hold on, let me pause my camera for a minute. It took me 2 years after this started, like after I got hit with that beam from Sirius and everything. It took me 2 years to get my eyes, because they were black. I mean, they were both black and blue. And that's another time that I had seen this layer of black come out of me. Was I had a bunch of like black patches like on my right side, and I was going to the doctor a lot trying to figure out like what's, I was trying to X out everything physically through, you know, doctors. And I knew that's not what was going on, but like for my boyfriend, my family's sake, I wanted them to know that I wasn't crazy and this wasn't something like, to do with me medically. So I went to the doctor and my thyroid is messed up, but I had like all these black, like two major black spots on the right side of my face that you could see like coming in from that third layer. And he was like, "What is that?" Because it looked like almost like bruising on the right side of my face. And I was like, "I don't know." Well, I had it in my eyes too, and I've shown pictures of me with that on here. And that took, after I got hit really, really hard with all that stuff, and this all started to mellow out, and then I started to get my health back like in 2022, and I started my YouTube channel. It took me like 2 years to get the puffiness and all of that to where I didn't have my eyes completely messed up like this. Like it looked like I got beat up every single day. And I wanted you guys to see. I mean, this is like one summer of me going through trauma that's still wasn't nearly as bad as that, but it was still really, really, really freaking bad, like as far as energy. And that's all energy that I'm getting hit with, like through my eyes at night, and my consciousness battling these other guys because they have the same type of consciousness. So if you watch like Dragon Ball Z, where their consciousness is coming out of their frontal lobe, that's exactly what this stuff is. And this is like real spiritual warfare going back and forth. So I'm not kidding. I get treated like a guy, and it really freaks me out. I'm like, what are you trying to do to the feminine spirit here? Like, why are you treating me like this? This is not how anybody should be treated, and definitely not a female. So yeah, men need to wake up big time because nobody should be treated like this, but women definitely shouldn't. And this place is like hell for women, children, and animals. And it's because men are being held back from their true, like their God's eye is anchored down in the sacral, and it needs to be completely on and not focused on money and all this other bullshit that they have men just drowning in. So yeah, it's it's not fun, and this is what the real war is. It's on a personal level, and it's in our house, and it's in our body, and it's very scary at times. But I also wake up knowing that I'm the strongest person I've ever seen, known, read, any movie or anything. I wake up every day knowing that I am the strongest person I've ever met in my life. And I also know that I can be brought to my knees at any second. So it's very humbling and strengthening at the same time. But enough is enough. I need my true self back. I need my true memory back. I need my true voice. I need access to my complete and true self so I can defend myself. Because I've been going through this like completely without any access to that. And that's because of what I'm working on, like getting rid of all these scripts and everything and getting back trust. Oh, thank you, hon. Yeah, I am very strong. I'm super duper strong. And I know every day that we're getting our memory back. This descent in the cave. Oh, that's another thing that I wanted to mention real quick. Like, we are literally in Plato's cave with all this programming from the TV and everything. And to come out of that and be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel right now is truly amazing. Um, for me personally, because I know that I'm getting my memory back like really soon. And every day that I wake up here, I'm like, okay, anytime now, like, I know that I'm going to wake up and just have it all. So I hope everybody that's feeling really hopeless right now starts to feel every day that this place is losing a grip on them, because it's not real and it's not true, and evil is not a part of us in any way, shape, or form. We have true experiences and challenges that don't have anything to do with evil. We are so intelligent, so amazing, so brilliant that we don't have to kill. Our mind doesn't even go there. We are just completely different from this place in our true self. So you hate caves? I like caves, but when they talk about living in one, I'm like, you are crazy. And I don't like the creatures in caves. I don't like any of the creepy crawly creatures here. They're not anything that everything to do with this place, I pretty much cannot connect with. Like, I don't like ocean water because it makes me itch. I don't like all the algae and crap like in lakes. Everything about the outdoors here and being dirty and all of that does not fit me. And I'm really, I know this place that I come from is completely flipped from here. It's clean, it's beautiful. Everything about it smells like heavenly. And I'm just ready to be back there. Petrified of the ocean water. Yeah, I hate it. I hate when you can't see. I hate when anything can like sting you or like latch onto you. Like, oh, okay, this one thing that I wanted to tell you guys too. Like, I just now found out that Artemis, that her birthday is the same as mine, and that's obviously like a time thing in the script, because when we moved here, there are tons of deer here. I'm not kidding. Like, I probably have 30 deer that come into my front yard now every day, and they have these huge ticks. And I feel so bad for them. They look malnourished, the deer do. They have like these broken, some of them have broken antlers and stuff like that, and these huge ticks on them. And I'm like, what kind of benefit is that? These things are disgusting. I love my cats too. And I think that's something like big time from the spirit realm. I don't think that there's nearly as many animals. I think that's all like to make this place look bigger. I think the animals that we do have, we have put so much conscious effort and spiritual work into bringing into being, and that they wanted to be out of like a type of free will too. Like, they're not on the human level, but they wanted to experience with us, and they have that spirit side. They're like true companions with us. They really wanted to be with us. And I know that about cats, like on a deep, deep, deep level. And Elliot has like some kind of uh it's like he uses everything that he truly loved before to take a weird vengeance on because he's not able to see it the way that he did. He's blocked so bad from his memory right now that he uses the ones that he loved and had everything into creating. He had help creating them because cats, I know, was one thing that he had a hand in creating, or like we were using artwork, all kinds of stuff, and then connecting with spirit like on such a deep level. I'm talking like some of these animals took hundreds, thousands of whatever kind of years to like connect and see if they really wanted to be part, our companions, because we never wanted to bring anything into true life without it really understanding what could go wrong and all of that. That's why we're experiencing this. Like, we needed to understand what can go wrong if you leave an experiment or something that you're working on its own without knowing what it is, where it's from, all of those things. If you just leave it on its own to grow and be by itself, what can happen? And it makes it, humans can't be like this. We go insane. Like, we have to know where we are, who we are, what's outside, everything about it. And on a subconscious and conscious level, it's made everybody insane. So, yeah, like, we have thought about all of this stuff so deep, and the few animals and insects that we have truly brought into being through the spirit were not just, something that came through science and evolution. They were really truly loved and thought of like on every type of level. And that's why I've shown like pictures of the dragonflies and bumblebees and stuff like that, because that's where I feel a true spiritual connection, like with even insects. And I think for me personally, it's like five of everything in your personal aeon. So you might have five different animals, five different life forms at one time, because that's all like a part of you. But that's what I've always seen, is that there are five aeon right now in completion, and that's why we have like five different animals and all kinds of stuff. Not saying that it can't, you can't make it into a different form, but the real true spirit anchored into that living being is like five. I feel more connected with my cats on a way different level. Like, they've been with me through this whole entire journey. And my boy cat, like, if you look up his name in Gematria, it says on his first page, clone. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, I know that he is a type of clone, but I don't love him any less than my girl cat. Like, I know he's working with me on different levels for that reason. And he's a clone here for this reason. And I could get so deep into my cats. Like, he treats my girl cat, who's really his mom, like she can't do anything on her own. He treats her kind of like, her husband, like Yaldabaoth with Sophia. And she can't, anytime she's going to have fun, like we have to sneak off and go have fun together, like me and my girl cat. But if he hears us even a little bit, he'll come up there and like ruin our whole entire time. And he doesn't even want to play. Like, he's not playful like her. She really wants to play. He just wants to come up and make sure that she's not having fun. I don't know. He's a little shit sometimes. But I love him just as much, just like in a different way. But he's been on a lot of like AI levels with me. And then my girl cat has been like in the lower spiritual realms with me. And she is super scary. Like, she can get really, really scary. And she's protected me so many times. I've woken up and seen some of her forms, and I'm like, holy shit. She is just fearsome. But anyways, okay, well, it was really good to be here with you guys tonight. And yeah, tomorrow I'm definitely going to um zoom into one subject and try and go super deep into that and get it out, because I really don't want to be doing this much longer, but I have so much that I need to like get out of me right now, and to put it through the system helps break spells. So I have to do this like to break some binds and spells and say it out loud without any type of fear. So yeah, I should be on about this time. Really, it's just however I feel, like if I feel like it during the day, but usually I've always been calmer at night. I like to clean at night, and I feel a lot calmer at night, so usually I like doing it around this time. So I didn't know if you were here in the States or not. Are you? Eyes to see? But my cats are like coded in Gematria too, and I've shown that like on my first page. And my girl cat has my name on her first page in Gematria. So I know that they came in here with me and definitely part of my spirit. Oh, okay. I thought that you were in England for some reason. I don't know why I had that in my head. But yeah, I should be on around this time if I'm not on earlier. And I have no idea why nobody gets my alerts, but I'll try and figure out how to put like maybe an hour notification out. Hi, Diamond Heart. Yeah, I'm feeling it like big time lately. This summer was very traumatic and scary, and I just kept telling myself, you know what? I just kept connecting to that, the true living God, the tree of life, all of that kind of imagery I kept putting into my head like over and over and over again, because I was feeling myself like they were running like some crazy script stuff on me, and they were doing like three at a time, and I was literally not able to even connect with myself, but I just kept like pushing through that. Like, they cannot do anything to you. They cannot do anything. And they can sit here and try, and they were pulling all the stops. So, yes, Tom, descending, it's like the roots grow deeper. Everything that we benefit from here is from descension, because our true being is that true human, that there is no like ascension, there's no being above us. It's about us being free to like be that everything. You know what I mean? Like, this is the realm of authority and higher and lower and all of that. when we're in our true self, everybody is unique and has like different skill sets and things like that, but we appreciate them. We love that because we don't want to be doing everything. We don't want to be having authority over another person. And you see that person and what they have to offer, and you know that you have that in you too and can learn from them, but you appreciate that they have more. It's not like some ego thing where you're jealous of them. There's no jealousy. So that's a big thing about here. And jealousy is not natural. It's not from our natural place of being. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, I'll try and put out like an hour notification. Maybe that'll help me gather my mind a little bit better too. Thank you. Have a good night.